Hey everyone, how are you? My name is Stephanie and welcome to my channel. And if you haven't subscribed already, you really should, because you get to watch me do funky, silly things like put a bone in my hair when we're talking about paleo, because apparently I have absolutely no shame. The paleo diet, you have probably heard of it. The idea behind it is that you only eat the food that early humans, or cavemen, could have gotten their grubby little fingers on. So no gluten, no dairy, no refined sugars, no processed ingredients, and no grains and legumes, beans. The idea behind eating like our ancestors actually makes a lot of sense. After all, it's how humans have eaten for 1.5 to 2 million years. So I'm giving it a go. My plans for this blog, at least at first, are to become a little bit of a human guinea pig. I'm going to try various nutritional approaches and report back to you what I learned from them. The good, the bad, what works, what doesn't, that kind of stuff. Not different diets, mind you. I'm not going to review Weight Watchers versus Noom. I'm looking at lifestyle choices here, like paleo, veganism, vegetarianism, Whole30, low carb, Mediterranean, and others. But before we get started on this, I have a bit of a disclaimer. There are 3 things in life which are very visceral: religion, politics, and nutrition. They're all based on belief systems, and none of them respond well to challenge. Essentially, you say, don't confuse me with the facts, because in my heart, I know I'm right. That's very true, isn't it? Think you can challenge somebody's nutritional views without a little bit of emotional backlash? Think again. You are just as well off telling a Christian you're not sure about that Jesus character, or challenging somebody's favorite presidential candidate. Neither one's a good idea. I've actually watched the first documentary professing the benefits of paleo, which I will review in my next article. Over half of the negative reviews on this film, by the way, are from people who have emotionally charged beliefs about their own nutritional choices, and this film ran contrary to them. So there's a decent chance that you are going to feel a little emotional tug here and there when you're reading my nutrition-based articles. It's inevitable, especially if you already have a particular nutritional approach that you are following. Bear with me though. Try not to get angry or immediately jump to the defense of other things that you've heard or you already believe. Take yourself out of your comfort zone and read, or listen in this case, with as open of a mind as you can manage. There's a reason for this. I will bet that every single nutritional approach out there has something that we can learn from it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take the good and leave the bad. Let's try not to let our emotions and pre-existing beliefs get in the way. Okay, so back to paleo. Just my little... so silly. Okay, about 1.5 million years ago, something amazing happened in our evolution. Our brain and cranium size started growing. We got smarter. According to an analysis of our ancestors' bones, there's a good chance that changing our diet to include more meat is what allowed us to evolve into modern-day humans. Now, not all historians agree on this, but a good chunk of them do. And if it's not what allowed us to have our cranium size change, then it's a pretty big coincidence, because it happened at the exact same time in our evolutionary history. And there's other things that support it too. There are people called parasite historians, crazily enough. It's probably a career path that not very many children aspire to follow one day. What do you want to be when you grow up, Charlie? I want to be a parasite historian. Yeah, no. Anyway, these parasite historians have found the same types of tapeworms in early humans as they found in hyenas. So this suggests that they shared booty from scavenged carrion, dead animals. In other words, they started eating more meat. The brains are a nutritionally demanding organ. If you want to grow a big and smart brain, eating meat provides a dietary change to foods of high nutritional value that are easier to digest. So the timing was right, and the logic behind what meat could have done for our brains also makes sense. That's what's leading many historians to make that meat and brain connection. But just because we used to eat a certain way doesn't make it right, does it? I mean, even if it did make us smarter, doesn't mean we have to eat that way today, does it? Or even if it does it mean that there's not room for improvements? And that's something I feel like paleo does not necessarily take into account. My main concern with paleo is that it focuses very heavily on meat. Maybe too much. Some historians agree that early humans may not have had meat at every single meal, which makes sense to me. Meat is hard to get when you don't have it grown, fattened up, slaughtered, cut into pieces, and neatly wrapped up into plastic and placed on your nearest supermarket shelf for you. These people had to go hunt for this stuff. And not even with guns. They're using like spears and stuff. And of course, the refrigeration techniques left a lot to be desired as well. So, I mean, they were burying it in the ground and stuff. So no, they probably did not have meat at every single meal. Also, none of this means that meat consumption is essential for us today. I mean, we've already evolved, right? Do we need to still keep eating meat to that degree or eating meat at all? Still kind of up for contention, although there are some studies and some things that are starting to lean in that direction and tell us that yes, our cranium sizes are now shrinking again. But we'll get into that later. So is it essential for us today? Vegan, highly sustainable, lots of environmental benefits for a sustainable planet, and health benefits. And if animals get a vote, I have a feeling I know which way they're going to lean. I was vegan for about 4 or 5 months once. I felt better than I had in a very long time. I will go vegan again for the sake of comparison in this experiment. I've actually read of a lot of vegans that have fallen off the bandwagon. They start craving meat for one reason or another, and they go back to it. So for some people, veganism is not sustainable. Probably because there's vegan and then there's vegan with a capital V. The capital V kind is more of an ideology than anything else. They're the reason for all those memes out there that you'll see about vegans needing to tell you that they're vegan. Let's assume that those people stay on the bandwagon. However, some people only eat vegan for health benefits. That's what I was doing or trying to do. But here's the thing, and it's something that any vegan will know. The vitamin B12 is only naturally found in animal products. Vegans find ways around it, mind you. They have their nutritional yeasts supplemented with it, and then they take supplements. From a purely logic standpoint, the fact that it is only found naturally in animal products leads me to think that those animal products should be included in our diet at least a little bit, here and there. Maybe not the full paleo amount, but some. If you're going to get that vitamin B12 naturally, they have to be. So I'm actually really looking forward to a diet called Pegan, which is a mixture of the principles of paleo and vegan, which I know you're probably thinking, those are like complete polar opposites, aren't they? You've got the meat eaters and then you've got the veggie eaters. But really, there's not that much that they overlap in a lot of areas. They both agree that lots of vegetables are good for you. They both believe in eating natural foods. Meat is the main factor that they don't really agree on, and legumes and grains. Some vegans are starting to be gluten-free too, but anyway, mostly meat. So from what I understand about Pegan, it just limits the consumption of meat and still focuses mostly on vegetables. So it makes a lot of sense to me, but I still have other nutritional options to go through before we get to that point. So I gotta wait. There's a few documentaries and books that I will be reading or watching to go along with my paleo part of this wellness journey. I'm actually following the meal plan for this one already right now. I've been doing it for the last 2 weeks. If you have any suggestions about documentaries or books that are really good that talk about paleo, please let me know in the comments. I would love to add some more in if I have time for them. I will probably be doing this diet, the paleo part of the diet, for 2 or 3 months just to get a good representation of it. And while I'm doing it, I will be reading these books and watching these documentaries and doing blog posts on them. So let me know in the comments if you know of any good ones. So as I said, I have been doing this for 2 weeks. I can give you a few initial impressions. I'm not that hungry most of the time. I'm staying under about 100 grams of carbs, even though I'm not purposefully limiting them. This particular meal plan does use a lot of sweet potatoes though in the recipes, and I've noticed that on days when I have sweet potatoes, I do actually get a little bit more hungry. Low carb diets though are famous for keeping you satiated, so I assume that's what's going on. I'm having more carbs on those days, so I'm just getting hungrier. Number 2, I have noticed it's a lot more easy to eat out on a paleo lifestyle than on a vegan lifestyle. We're talking about your average regular restaurant, not going to a vegan restaurant. There's lots of those out there, and there's not lots of paleo restaurants out there, but that's because eating out at a regular restaurant is easier when you're a paleo. Most places will have some sort of chicken or steak dish that you can order. Even at Olive Garden, who is famous for their pasta, I ordered chicken on a bed of zucchini noodles. It's very good. 3, I feel pretty energized and less lethargic. 4, if I don't get the amount of sleep that I'm used to, it doesn't seem like it phases me as much the next day. It doesn't really bother me so far. 5, eating this much meat can be expensive, especially if you follow the grass-fed, free-range, organic suggestions. 6, I have lost weight, which is awesome. About 3 pounds in a week and a half. So that's about the rate you're supposed to lose it at, so yay. 7, I might be a little bit more inflamed than usual. When I did all that research on the anti-inflammatory diet, she does talk about eating a lot of meat and how it can be inflammatory. So not terribly surprising. My feet have been a little bit sorer and just feeling puffier lately. My joints have been a little bit sorer. Maybe this is just an adjustment to the diet and I'll feel better. We will see. Initial impressions, like I said. I'm going to be doing this for a while and this is only a week and a half in, so who knows. Concerns. Okay. Eat like Homo erectus. Well, the average lifespan of Homo erectus was like 45 years. Sure, they didn't have antibiotics, vaccines, and live in the sanitary world of today. So I'm sure that played a part in their lifespan for sure. But it also means that we'll never know how long they would have lived to be eating the way that they did if they'd had all the benefits that we have today. So it's hard to tell, but they definitely didn't live as long as we did. So I'm worried about the effects that it may have on my cholesterol. I do plan on talking to my doctor about this and seeing about having my blood taken at the end of each dietary cycle that I try here. And I will share those with you. So we'll see. Lastly, all the saturated fats. Saturated fat can lead to heart disease and other health problems. I know. All of you that are out there that are doing keto or paleo are like, those emotional heartstrings are pulling right now. And you're going to tell me that, yes, some studies are starting to suggest that that only happens when you're eating a high carbohydrate diet. And if you're on a low carb diet, saturated fats are not bad for you. But I don't know enough about these studies or that claim yet to know one way or the other. So I will look into these studies and I will let you know. So paleo, very excited. So far so good, other than the slight inflammation. Other than that, I feel really good. So I also, last side note, have added a page on my website summarizing all of my most important findings so far and links to where you can read more about it. It will continue to be updated as I progress through my wellness journey. So link is in the description. Check it out. Subscribe. That's a really hard word to say with a done in your mouth. Yeah, I can't say that. Subscribe. 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 We got bones in our hair. What do we got bones in our hair for? What's this? Bone? You got a real chicken bone in your hair. You're so authentic. Mommy's is fake. Paleo. Can you say Homo erectus? Homo? Probably not a good word to teach you. Erectus? Yeah. We're some goofy girls. Yes, we are. Goofy girls. You are goofy by inheritance. I'm so sorry about that. Not really. Goofy is fun. Bye, everybody. Have a good day.